Hey guys and girls, students of audio and video technology. Nate here with the Volunteer Tech Vlog on the Live Sound 101 YouTube channel. And let's see how this microphone's doing. Hear that little scratch? Yeah, I got the microphone. So again, I'm doing another test with a new microphone location rather than hide this little lav mic up here in the visor. I'm actually clipping it onto me and seeing how it sounds. But so we'll see how it does with the road noise. Man, after listening to the last video, it is amazing how much the difference between like right here on the collar and like right here at the corner of my mouth makes. Like to me that is a huge difference. So I think I don't know, this microphone's pretty okay for what it is, but I wonder if there's I could just find a way to like get a little ear set hook and use this same microphone with like an over the ear holder, because I think right here, like right now, the funny thing about this is I can only test it when I'm not driving. But really what I want to do is have a test like this when I'm going down the highway, but that would be unsafe to do, because I wonder if I did this, how it would impact highway noise. But anyway, that's that. Just seeing what I can do with what I got here, making the best quality product with the tools at my disposal. Principle of Live Sound and the Live Sound 101 video series. But today, what did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about, well, it's been a crazy week, so I'll talk about it. I got to give some shout outs to people. But I wanted to talk about the balance between quality, price, and reliability. This is a tricky one. We find ourselves in a tricky position, right? And I know when people look at my videos and they're like, wait, this guy's an audio pro and he's using Behringer, like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, no, I know. I know the reputation Behringer has. But when you're volunteering in an all volunteer team, and budget is a big aspect of what you do, trying to keep the cost down, it becomes very challenging. Because sure, I would love to spring for some Rupert Neve equipment. I mean, if I could pick anything in the world, I would go with like API and Rupert Neve, like signal chain. I would get as much of their electronics as I could, right? But that's not reality. It's not reality for us. It's not in the budget. It's not something we can really do. So hence we end up with some low budget solutions like from Behringer. But with that, I need to get driving. I got some construction going on outside, right outside my right outside on my street right here. So we'll see how this goes. Just make eye contact with this officer here so he knows I see him. Yeah. So quality and reliability. Let me start there. Reliability has been a huge problem with our system. All right, he's giving me the go ahead. So reliability has been a huge problem for us with the Behringers. And we've gone through 4 of these things. We've replaced all 4 of them, and now one of them has a channel that's going bad. And it's just, you get to the point where you're like, I'm sick of fixing this and chasing down these problems. Not to mention the types of problems that we experienced were like really hard to diagnose. It wasn't just like, something easy like, hey, there's a hum in the system. Well, sometimes hums in the system can be actually really awful. It wasn't just like it was something like that where you could just flip a ground lift, like a ground lift button, flip a switch, and then things magically get better. It was problems like intermittent problems with word clock, where sync would be lost and essentially the whole system would go down. And it was stuff like that just drives you nuts, where intermittently the whole system is rendered unusable. And whoops, and you're just not sure exactly what's causing it. And it just, oh man, it was just driving me absolutely insane. So we finally got those problems fixed by replacing all the ADA 8200s, which I just cannot recommend the ADA 8200s. Those things are just, we've just found them to be unreliable. And then on top of that, when you go to try to use the product warranty from Behringer, we had to get help from a trustee to do some of that stuff. Like Manny, we had to outsource that to him because it just took so much time to go through all the paperwork and just to try to get this piece of gear replaced. Man. And so you don't want to go bottom of the barrel, but that's why the middle of the road for reliability, quality perspective, you pay a little bit more. You get kind of like a middle of the road solution, and a lot of times that can go a long way. So now I'm always hesitant about getting the lowest quality thing, because you do get what you pay for, right? Now, I gotta give a shout out to Josh. So Josh, I in a previous video, I said you get bonus points or something like that if you can tell me which microphone Bob Barker used. It came up in conversation, and so he wrote in with a link, and I know he did a quick Google search because I did the same Google search and saw the link that comes out right on top, and so anyway, but he was the first one to post it. It was a Sony ECM, I want to say 50 or 51, maybe a 52, ECM 50, that long skinny silver microphone. And so he found a website that had a picture of it and posted it. Now I deleted his comment. So funny story about this. So I had to delete the comment, Josh. I do apologize for that. I do appreciate you commenting and sharing which microphone it was, but I deleted the comment because when I clicked on that link, it was, first of all, it was an Angel Fire website. I mean, do you guys remember Angel Fire? Holy cow, WordPress is all the rage right now with setting up websites, and GoDaddy is very popular. There's all these semi-professional tools that you can buy to set up a website. But back in the day, there was X Pages was one of them. I had an X page from my band back in the day. Angel Fire was what there were all these hosting solutions where you could log in and set up a super cheesy website. It had a WYSIWYG editor of some sort. It was essentially creating a Word doc on a website. You could add pictures, and you could make things move around and what. Anyway, so this was an Angel Fire. I couldn't believe that when I saw the link. I'm wow, Angel Fire. I remember that. It takes me back to the late 90s in terms of web development, kind of where we were. So I clicked on the link, and there was definitely some malicious activity going on over there because I had some pop-ups happen, and it was there was a pop-up to install something. I'm okay, gotta delete this, because I appreciate the sentiment of Josh posting that, but I just did not want to spread around any viruses or whatever for people clicking on that might watch the video and then see the comments and click on it. So that's why I deleted it, but I do appreciate it. Thanks, Josh. The Sony ECM, I think it was a 50, 51. Geez, now I can't even remember. I think I had it written down. I'll have to take a look next time I come to a stop. So that was one shout out. Let's see, another shout out, Dave Dolphin. I got to give a shout out to Dave. So I've been collaborating with Dave. We've been going back and forth, had a few phone calls. I'm creating some videos for him to put up on his channel that he's going to do some editing for, and then I actually still gotta send him an email with some follow-up stuff, but he's gonna create some video content. We're gonna create some video content together, and I'll get his perspective from the tech leadership point of view, because that's a very interesting one for me. What are the different types of leadership models that work, specifically in a church, because he's an executive pastor and a pastor of worship, so he's got some experience there, but he's also done some programming and IT work too. So interesting fella to talk to for sure. So you might see Dave actually on this channel as we're going and collaborating. Shout out to Kern over at Home Recording Weekly. So I got contacted by Kern over there. He's got a podcast. He talks all about recording. Seems like a nice guy. So I downloaded one episode so far of his podcast. Want to check it out a little bit more. But we might team up and do something. I might do something with Kern. And he's a New England guy too. He's up from Maine. So it's always nice to connect with people in your region. Or just like in your field of interest. Obviously nice to connect with people who are, interested in what you're interested in from around the world. But then when you meet somebody who, you didn't know about and they're, right around the corner or, a couple, up in Maine. I mean, Maine's not all that far away. Portland's a really nice city too, by the way. I think he's close to Portland. But anyway, shout out to Home Recording Weekly. Some other shout outs I gotta give. I feel like there's more. This month has just been crazy with collaborations and stuff. I feel like I just keep getting it's good because people are interested in the content that I'm putting out there. And this is just one of my projects here, the Volunteer Tech Vlog. I try to create have some diversity in what I'm doing. Try not to get locked into the same thing. I'll do some YouTube stuff, do some vlogging, do some podcasting. See, my channels are Big Nate 84, Live Sound 101, which and then AV Shop Talk, the podcast. So those are my big projects. What else did I got going on? Oh, so Rave Publication. So I got a next episode of AV Shop Talk. I'll have Gary K. Doing an AV career spotlight with him, just hearing his story and how Rave Pubs was formed and how his career kind of shaped out. And so Gary K is the founder of Rave Publications, popular audio video publication, I guess you'd say, but it's all digital. And I guess that was like the big thing with them is they never started in print and then transitioned and crossed over into digital. They were born in digital, right? They were born out of the digital world. And so anyway, episode 34 of AV Shop Talk with Gary K is coming up November 2nd. It'll be published at avshoptalk.com there. Grab the RSS feed if that's interesting to you. And then another collab with Ajish. Actually, I don't think I've ever said the name out loud. I've tried to say it out loud a couple times. Anyway, he is from, I think, I can't remember the name he works for. It's Favante. It's some funny, I can't remember the name. I'm totally bombing with the names. But he does a written piece for Rave Publications. And it's called, let's see, do I have it written down on my little notepad here? No, I don't. See, why do I even write notes? Why do I write notes? Doesn't even matter. But anyway, he does this piece for Rave Publications called the AV Insider, where he does email interviews with AV insiders around the world. So he thought I would be a good person to write about in his AV Insider piece. So he sent me a bunch of questions, and I took way too long to respond. Sorry, Ajish. But anyway, I finally wrote back. I found some pictures from back in the day when I was a stagehand and when I, was at school doing sound recording technology and, getting my first job and kind of like my story, how I got to where I am now. So through this email questionnaire, he's going to take that and then publish a post on Rave Publications. So I guess I'll share the link with you guys when that goes live. But that's pretty cool. So that's kind of cool. So definitely a lot of collaborations going on. But definitely Kern, I will circle back to you. It's just been a crazy busy week with everything happening. And I'm talking with TV producers about getting my content into a History Channel TV segment of a History Channel TV show. So but it's just like a very busy time for collaboration right now, which is a good thing. Oh, but yeah, on top of all that, my wife sprained her ankle on Tuesday. So that was not fun. I mean, if you've ever got a phone call from your spouse and you can tell that they're upset and they are calling you from the back of an ambulance, it's not a fun situation to be in. And so she was out walking the kids, and one of the kids dropped the water bottle, or it fell out of the stroller, and I guess right as it hit the ground, my wife's ankle came down on it and went just not pretty. So her ankle was all puffed up, big and swollen, and no broken bones, just a really bad sprain. So she's been having her foot up for the last 3 days. So luckily I've been able to work from home until now, where I'm actually going into the office. But yeah, that was just, man, when you got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old and a sprained ankle, and you're like out on a walk somewhere, like a mile from the house, and you can't walk all of a sudden because you've got this injury, and you got the kids, you got the stroller. So, you know, she kind of had to call 911 for that because she was just in a lot of pain and, you know, busy street. Now, luckily, she went down right next to the fire station. So it just happened to happen right in front of the fire station. So, like, literally she called 911, and like the fire chief just like walked out the front door and helped her up. And well, I shouldn't say helped her. I wasn't there. I didn't see it, but like not helped her up, but like helped assess the problem. And they put her in an ambulance because she couldn't drive herself, and she called me, and I went and met her at the hospital. And we had luckily we have awesome neighbors. Oh man, Pete and Becky, the best, who just were like, yeah, we'll take the kids for you for the afternoon, you know, go take care of your wife, kind of a deal. And it was just like complete lifesaver. So really, really awesome friends and neighbors. Oh man, that was huge blessing to just not have to worry about the kids in that moment in time, because I put in like a half day of work, got the call around like 11:30, and it's just like, oh, here's the other thing how this ties back to technology. So I'm getting this phone call. My wife, I could tell she's in pain. She's really upset. She's breathing really heavy. She's trying to calm herself down. And she's, you know, I'm like, well, what hospital are they taking you to? And she says, you know, they're taking me to Natick Hospital. And I'm like, Natick Hospital, okay. I've never been to Natick Hospital, which is weird because it's like the closest one to our house. We've never been to it. Like, it's funny when you live in Boston, it's like there's amazing hospitals all over the place. So you kind of like, I don't know, you kind of like pick and choose. You know, like if you want to have a baby, you go to this hospital. If you know, have an orthopedic problem, you go to this hospital. If you got an emergency, you go to this. Well, depends on the emergency, but if you got an emergency, you should go to the closest one. But it's a good problem to have because there's a lot of different hospitals. But anyway, we had never been to Natick Hospital, and so we'll hear how the road noise picks up right now. And so I did the like, okay Google, you know, and then I'm like, take me to Natick Hospital, just exactly what they told me, because I don't know, and it took me to Framingham. I'm like, what? It took me to like Framingham Metro West Medical Center, and I'm like, that's like 15 minutes away from Natick Hospital, so it's, you know, it's not like I was going in the wrong direction, so that's a good thing. But man, the OK Google thing, you just, you know, it's like if you want to go get ice cream, you know, OK Google, take me to get some ice cream, yeah, okay. But it's like, maybe it was just dumb on my part, you know, for like trusting the intelligence of a Google search, you know. Ooh, sorry about that. So yeah, it was just really bizarre. And when I showed up at the wrong place, went to the ER and went to go check in, and I'm like, is this Natick Hospital? And the woman's like, no. And it's kind of like, you can see in her eyes that she gets it a lot. You know, she's like, no, it's confusing. We used to be part of this, and then, you know, the names changed, and now that one's called Leonard something or other, and this one's called, I don't even remember. So anyway, just it's one of those things, like it's so handy though. Like when you're in an emergency, like I just wanted to like grab my keys and run, and like as I'm walking in my car, I'm just like, okay, Google this thing, and like let's just go. Like I don't want to waste any time, because I want to get, it's an emergency, right? I want to get there as fast as I can. But at the same time, the OK Google thing, while it's very convenient to just do the voice search, it could get you to the wrong place. And it's not like it's not like it was better, like if I went to, actually I'm going to go do that when I get to work. I'm going to just do a Google search for it and see what comes up. Because there would have been no way, unless I like somehow did a Google Maps search for like the town of Natick, and I like, because I don't know where the border is. I don't know where like Framingham stops and Natick starts. It all kind of meshes together for me, because I'm just not from there, and it's actually kind of confusing to figure that out. Not good with the hospital. But this also happened to me. I think I mentioned this when I was down in Atlanta for some ISO 13485 training. We went to a Atlanta Braves game, and we said, okay, take us to Turner Field, right? Turner Field, old Turner Field. I mean, it's 20 years old, but we told Google, take us to Turner Field, and it took us to the brand new Sun Life or whatever. It took us to the brand new stadium, which is halfway under construction, so obviously no game going on over there. But it's like, Google, man, what is going on? What is going on? Wow, now I can think of a third one. I remember Googling the hours for Bed Bath & Beyond. My wife asked me, hey, when does Bed Bath & Beyond close or open? And I Googled it, and they told me, the one in Foxborough was open. And she was asking me, and so I Googled it for her, and she drove over there, and it was closed. And it's like, man, getting burned by Google. But yeah, I don't know how this relates to reliability and quality of systems and cost of systems, but it does relate, because it's a free tool and you get what you pay for. But you can't really buy, like, you can't really buy like a better Google. It just is what it is. Got like one tier. But that's interesting. I wonder if somebody could, like, voice is like a huge thing. So like you hear this like term like VUI, voice user interface. Like 2016 is the first time I've heard like voice control. That idea has been around for a while. Like you can control something with your voice. Like that's, it's been in sci-fi. It's even been there's even been products that use voice control. But the term VUI, voice user interface, I have not seen anybody use until 2016. Specifically CEDIA 2016 is really when I started hearing people talk about VUI. And I've been following this space pretty close. So VUI, definitely awesome when it works. But man, there's a lot of hurdles because like the first versions of VUI, voice user interface, voice control, was essentially there was a macro or a command, and you had to say an exact phrase to trigger an exact command. And so it was not very helpful, because if you wanted to turn the lights in the bathroom on with your voice control system that you paid thousands and thousands of dollars for, you would have to say a very specific phrase, and it would have to recognize your voice, recognize that phrase, and execute that command. Right? And now we're getting to the point where we've got tools like Alexa from Amazon, where they're starting to bring more I shouldn't say artificial intelligence. They're trying to bring intelligence to this thing, so you can use a variety of different things to all do the same thing, right? You don't have to say an exact phrase. You can just, the idea is you speak naturally like you'd speak to a person, and the computer kind of just determines what it thinks you want. And so, that's awesome until there's an emergency situation and it doesn't work. And then we get to a point where we're so reliant on these voice things for our everyday tasks that, aren't so mission critical, like going to get ice cream. But, then then man, you got to go to the hospital, or there's a forest fire, or something crazy happens, and you're just in the habit of using these voice commands, and you think it's going to do something, and then you find out that it's not getting you to where you want to be if you're trying to navigate somewhere or something like that. Man, there's just crazy world we're coming into, and sometimes the technology just doesn't quite work the way it was intended. And we see this with Bill Belichick spiking the Microsoft Surface tablet. I mean, he's sitting there on the sideline trying to call plays, trying to manage the team, and obviously the technology is not working properly, and he's spiking the tablet over on the sideline. And of course the NFL has an endorsement deal or a sponsorship deal with Microsoft, so all teams in the NFL are seen with these blue Microsoft tablets. And from his little press conference there, little phone conference he had with one of the sports networks, I read through the 5-minute rant he went on. Apparently there's like something that goes wrong every single week, it's the same thing we experience at the church. It's like things just go wrong, right? And so we're trying to get the technology simplified. We're trying to make it easy to use. We're trying to keep the cost down. We're trying to manage it as all volunteers. But the reality is the technology breaks, and vendors matter. I mean, we went with the cheapy cheap, and it breaks a lot more frequently. So I just wonder, had we invested in like Motu mic pre's, or PreSonus mic pre's, or something else that was like double or quadruple the price from the get-go, I mean, would our system be rock solid? All this talk about our system kind of not being reliable, not being stable, and getting frustrated, and like we're sick of it, so let's maybe what we really need to do is move to a digital board and just completely start with a fresh slate. I mean, we still keep our distribution, our DSP, our amplifiers, our speakers, but just changing out the console, the brains and the routing. Should we just from that standpoint start with a clean slate? I want to see how this affects it if I go like that. So we're just wondering if we do that, start with a clean slate and get a like the PreSonus just came out. PreSonus just came out with a 32 channel console called the Studio Live 32, and now this is an interesting one for me because PreSonus, I think they were one of the first ones to have a product in the digital console space that was cheap and you could remote control. Like that was one of the big things, is you could remote control the PreSonus. I remember talking with John Mason from Andy Needham Band about this, and he was showing me his new PreSonus console like years and years ago and all that it could do. And one of the biggest flaws I saw in the PreSonus was that, yeah, you could control it and mix out on the floor or out in front of house or anywhere with an iPad. That was awesome. You had this awesome app. You could control the board, but the faders were not motorized. So it had this like weird thing where if you took the iPad and went walking around the facility and you're mixing the band and trying to get things sounding right, then you get back up to the physical console, the faders that you moved on the iPad are in the virtual realm. And so you might have moved one from -40 up to 0. Well, and so say you move channel 1 from -40 up to 0. Well, when you get back behind the physical board, that physical fader is still going to be at -40, even though in reality, in the virtual realm, it's really at 0 in terms of what you're hearing. But when you go look at it, the discrepancy is that it still looks like it's at -40, so you have to physically move the fader up. And I guess you would just move it up slowly, and then I guess when it gets to the point where it's supposed to be, it kind of like does a little vibrate or buzz or something like that to kind of indicate that it's in the right spot. So anyway, this was a little microphone test at high speed. I wanted to see if I brought this thing closer to the corner of my mouth how that impacted road noise. So that's what I did. And now I'm going to put it right back down and just let it go naturally, because I feel like a goober holding the microphone. Like, I actually was like, felt very Secret Service-y, you know, like the Secret Service guys kind of like talking to there. Like, maybe that's what I should do. I should just get a little microphone taped to my wrist and just go like this the whole time I'm driving. Oh boy. But certainly lots of stuff to talk about in this video, about quality, about costs, and trying to strike a balance between it all. I mean, and this is a different world. I mean, when you're a volunteer tech, doing stuff in the church tech world, it really is a different world than like the home recording world, right? Or like the broadcast world. You know, if you're doing like audio and you work in a recording studio, like that is your bread and butter. So buying cheap gear is not really anything you'd want to do. Like, why would you want to buy, some cheap $200 Behringer mic pre? No, you want to go with like Apogee. You want to go with API or ATI. There's another company called ATI that has some really good mic pre's. You know what I mean? You want to spring for the good stuff. But you're trying to cut costs. Oh man, it's just, you got to strike that balance of getting the cheapest thing that sounds good enough. You know, that's the other part of the equation. How does this stuff sound? Because the different electronics do make a difference. You know, you get some really high quality mic preamps compared to some really low quality ones. Like, it will make a difference in the sound. Now, most people probably can't tell the difference until you did an A/B comparison. But yeah, that's another thing to think about. So, well, let's see. I've been chatting for like 30 minutes now. This is crazy. But I definitely like this type of stuff. So, yep, new videos every Wednesday and Friday, except for this week, since my wife sprained her ankle. And yeah, it's just been kind of nuts with all the collaborations and stuff, extra stuff going on. So, but if you look back through the history, you'll see new videos Fridays and Wednesdays. If you want to hear me jibber jabber all about live sound, pro audio, pro video, this is where I do it, in the car, in a Let's Drive format. And the community, yeah, I'm revamping the community. So if you go to Google Plus, there's a Live Sound 101 community. It's got over 400 members in it now, and I really want to put some good posts up there. I want to share some relevant industry news and technology news that Live Sound people would care about, and get some discussions going. There's an introduce yourself section. If like there's a sound guy from the DC area that just joined the community. I've been going back and forth with him a little bit. He's got a website that he's doing, so like that's good stuff over there. So the community, if you want to ask a question, there's a way to ask a question. And I guess what I'm thinking of is I used to do this feedback type video where I'd answer questions here. So if you want me to answer a specific question, or try to answer a specific question in a video format, you go over to the community and ask a question over there, and I can make a video response for you. Because I've just been getting questions from Facebook, questions from email, questions from all over, and it's they're coming from all angles. But if you want me to answer a specific question in video format, you can go over to the community and ask it there. You can post discussion topics, relevant links, and that's the nice thing about the community, is it's like one step up from, like, I like the YouTube comments. That's cool too if you're more comfortable with commenting on YouTube. YouTube's great, but the only problem is when you want to share a link on YouTube, you can do it now. You used to not be able to. You can share a link on YouTube, but a lot of times that link gets flagged and the comment will automatically go into my spam bin. So YouTube is not great for sharing links and pictures and stuff, but if you want to share pictures or links or anything like that, the community is the way to do it. So Anyway, that's why the community is set up there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed creating it. I will see you in the next video. I never do it.